terms of the there's a few other folks that had expressed that they would be here, but let's get going. It is Friday afternoon, and it's a hot one. How hot is it, Bernd?
Oh, 102.
Just
That's
so,
crazy.
so John,
Sorry,
in three
outside,
weeks,
outside, not inside. Sorry.
in 3 weeks, John, it's not going to get any cooler. So, well, welcome to Phoenix. Mike Patterson is very available and very used to the heat. Mike, it's just another day at the office, right?
I guess. Yeah. And you know what? Tom Maynard, I heard him in front of a group on Wednesday morning, and they say, "How do you respond to people when they say, how do you deal with the heat there?" And he said, "Well, let's see, you're in Minnesota, and are you going out to the park today to have lunch?" And they said, "No." And he said, "Well, yeah, well, we don't go out to have lunch in the park in July." So there you go.
Well, wherever you are, you get used to the outside, whether you're in a cold area. I know I was up in Toronto a couple months ago, and it was as cold as I've felt in a long time, and Phoenix and is always warm. So wherever you are in the world, it is an interesting time in the world. Interesting, not necessarily always in a good way. From a business perspective, the good news is that business is increasing and continues to increase. It's very shifting, and I don't know how you feel about AI, but yeah, we're going in 110% at Global Chamber, and it both keeps us up at night, and it also is exciting because what AI and technology is doing is changing the business landscape as we know it, hour by hour, day by day. It's exciting and a little bit frightening, but we'll make it through together. I wonder if what we could do is this meeting is the Global Chamber Phoenix monthly meetup. And I'm wondering, first of all, if we could start with Mike Patterson, who is an original member of Global Chamber, and give his thoughts about what's going on in the world. And then I'd love to hear from Monex, because you guys are going to be in Phoenix in 3 weeks at the Grow Globally Fair. That is a joint event by Global Chamber and also by Integro Bank. Though Globally Fair is one of the original signature events of Global Chamber, the intent was to help exporters connect up with business resources that they need to grow globally. Both Monex and Integro Bank now with a solution that John, you and Jack can speak about, and also Mike Patterson and his international law work. Just extraordinary. Mike, you've become so international over the last 10 years. Could you give us your perspective about what you're seeing in the market right now, and let us know how we can help you? Who would you like to meet and how can we help?
Thank you, Doug. Well, it's just going gangbusters. As you mentioned, the semiconductor is one of the focuses since TSMC is putting 150 billion here in Intel as well. All the supply chain is coming, but there are a couple other industries. We have a legacy industry here, and that's aerospace and defense, which is continuing to grow. I'm in a firm that is in 32 cities across the country. Spencer Fain, we're 750 lawyers. And so it's not just the Phoenix market, but this one is booming. And I am very excited about aerospace and defense and what's going on there. We're having meetings with the Aerospace and Defense Association in my offices and in others. We just did an event this past week on MROs that service airplanes, and I represent a number of clients in that area where there is an event coming up for unmanned aerial vehicle and UAS, something called Rodeo, and unmanned little tanks that go along, and then unmanned drone, of course. I just had a speaker for in-house in our law firm last Thursday. Doug, that she would make a great speaker. Well, actually, yesterday, right? is Thursday. Patricia Morrissey from Global Foresight. They are a wonk institute. I actually gave them a contribution. They are advising Ukraine on military. They have retired brigadier generals who are on their staff of their nonprofit, and they're having meetings directly with the EU and trying to garner support for Ukraine. It's sort of very exciting. That was neat for me. I got to speak to an inbound group of Mexican businesses that was put on by the city of Phoenix yesterday. Market entry into Phoenix. That was neat. This is we also on April the 8th, hosting in my office a delegation from Sheffield, UK, in the Peak District of the UK. And they'll be in our office. I think it's about 8 or 9 companies, all tech companies, inbound. And so I've been just helping a lot of businesses inbound to the US, not just Phoenix, but then also working with a lot of companies that are expanding outbound around the world. And I'm with Carol Colombo, and I'm on the District Export Council, and we are working with the national government and our commerce to try to see if we can get this USMCA over the hump in July. I have to say I'm not real hopeful. It looks like it may not get approved in July. One of the big questions we have is what happens if it doesn't get approved? Does then it just kind of lumber on, or is it dead that day? And there's not real clarity about that, even from the experts. And I think a lot of it will be made, that decision making will be made out of Washington. I see Canada and Mexico doing bilateral. They're talking bilaterally. And the US doesn't particularly like that, but we would like to see the trilateral stay in place. It's a good agreement and it can be made better. But that's a big talk for another day. Sorry, Doug, I took up more than my 2 minutes.
Who would you like to meet and how can we help you?
Uh, I'm always willing to meet inbound businesses that are wanting to get set up and expand in the United States, Canada, Mexico, and really anywhere. But that I can help them with their international expansion. And then people who have outbound issues as well. I have a network of lawyers around the world and and people through Global Chamber. And and Doug, by the way, on your visionary thing, I think Kim Rowland and I, right before this call, we figured out a way to make it happen. So I'm looking forward to that with you.
You're amazing. Thank you very much. I saw your email. I appreciate your everything about you.
Right.
Hey,
And for all of you in Global Chamber, what that means is instead of just the Mike in the Phoenix office and Jason Cross in the Austin office, that we're going to have all 32 of our offices join in Global Chamber and get people out of every one of our offices involved with the counterpart offices in Global Chamber. And they just didn't understand it the first time I must have been speaking Greek or something. But now I think they get it. So
visionary sponsor of Global Chamber. Thank you very much. And you are a visionary and a multi-talented Renaissance man. By the way, when is the next gig for the mariachi band?
ah uh well we just had one, and in years past we've been a band at Doc's. Yeah, he's been a good friend and a client and everything else, and our band has sung at his jazz festival. I am so thrilled. I know there was a change in location, but I don't know if any of you are seeing on television these ads that are for the jazz festival that are just going on every night. I'm so thrilled for him. I've called him up several times and said, "I'm watching your ad. You know, this is going to be fabulous." So anyhow, I'm happy for Doc. My band, we don't have one set on the upcoming. I've got a band member who's sick, Freddie, but we'll be scheduling one soon. Thank you.
Fantastic. Mike's office with Spencer Fain is near, it used to be called the Financial Center of Phoenix, the 24th and Camelback. And so it's in the Esplanade Center. And that office has worked out really well for you guys. Great
Yes.
location, and continues to expand the whole area, as you point out. It's also good proximity to North Phoenix, where that huge foreign direct investment is happening, the largest FDI investment in the United States history with
Oh,
TSMC.
yes. If I might also add, if the largest investment there wasn't happening, there is still another new thing happening in Phoenix, and that's biotech, medtech. This is the week for Mayo MedTech Accelerator. They have a whole bunch of companies from around the world here this week, and I've been meeting with them and talking, doing office hours with those companies. But we also have something in Phoenix called MDM squared, which is medical device manufacturer multipliers, and they are off and running. And we have the Flynn Foundation Bio Roadmap and AZ Bio, and there's a new fund in Phoenix by John Schoenfeld's group, Accelerant, that is Jetstream, and it's only for bio. And I mean, there is so much momentum going in bio and biotech, medtech, and medical devices right now. And Phoenix is becoming, because Mayo has planted their flag here, Phoenix has become a magnet for it. That used to be Boston, still is Boston, but
Yeah.
watch out, Boston. I mean, they're coming here. And then Southern California were the kind of two others. But I mean, I've got 3 new clients from the Netherlands who are inbound opening labs here in Phoenix area, and it's they want to work with all the others. The momentum, that's going on. So sorry.
Part of the chemistry of that is Mexico, and Eduardo Gonzalez is here. He's our board chair. He also is an executive director for Global Chamber, working both sides of the border, U.S. and Mexico. And so, Eduardo, that is part of the magic, right? On the medical side, the Mayo Clinic and having that as a core and a hub, and what City of Phoenix has done in setting up the bio center originally with TGen initially, and then others spinning off of that. And then now with manufacturing of medical devices, not just in the U.S., but out of Mexico as well. Could you introduce yourself and say hi and anything you'd like to say? And then let's go to Monex with John and Jack.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it. Yeah, like Mike said, we're looking forward to what's going to happen to the USMCA because although there's a lot of supply chains that are intertwined between Canada and the US, uh, like medical devices, especially automotive, but also aerospace and anything in advanced manufacturing. The potential is there, the capabilities are there, talent is there. So we're hoping that they end up with whatever they're willing to sign. So companies have a little bit of a certainty of what's going to happen in the next 4 or 6 years. So we're waiting on that. Currently, there's a lot of uncertainty. So companies are not pulling the trigger. Companies that are already established in Mexico, they are already continuing with the work that they've been doing for many years. Like I said, in many industries, aerospace, medical device, and supply chain. Locally, the governor was in Washington, D.C. They took a delegation to lobby the USMCA negotiation. They just got back, so we're waiting to see how that went. Like Mike said, we're cautious, optimistic about how this is going to go. And also, we're getting ready for the startup week here locally in Phoenix. So that also brings a lot of Mexican companies here, a lot of startups, a lot of companies that want to support what's happening here in Phoenix in the semiconductor, medical device, defense, aerospace, and all the industries that are doing pretty well right now. Especially companies are looking to set up some type of operation here. So some Mexican companies are looking into the Arizona market. Like Mike said, he spoke yesterday on how to establish a business here. So the room was full of mainly companies from Sonora, mainly commercial companies that want to sell products. But there were some mining companies there. So there's a lot of interest. There's a lot of potential. Personally, my company is called 258 Consulting. What we do is we help companies on both sides of the Mexico-U.S. border find suppliers, customers. Basically, we help them find contract manufacturers. We help them with their business development efforts, and we help them with their site selection on the Mexican side or the U.S. side in the case of Mexican companies looking for business here. Thank you for the time, Doug. And yeah, if you have any questions, I'll put my information in the chat. Thank you, Doug.
Sounds good. Could you talk a little bit about the Grow Globally Fair coming up on April 9th? What are your plans, and what do you suggest people do in terms of getting ready for that?
Right. So we have this big event, Doug. I've been part of a global chamber almost since I got here 10 years ago. Doug started this this Grow Globally Fair in Tucson and here in Phoenix. So I've been part of those events in the past. I think it's a great event to do networking, to know who's doing what and where here in the Valley, especially cross-border also is very interesting. The way that Doug sets this up is an exhibition area with tables of local companies and members and non-members, and then we're going to have some speakers. We would love to have you there. We would love you to spread the word. The information is on LinkedIn. We will share also information here in the chat. Hopefully, I know Monix is going to be there. I know Mike is going to be there. Probably Vern. It will be nice if we can play some music there. and Michael's. So yeah, looking forward to seeing everyone there. It's a great event. It's going to be during Startup Week, so there's a lot of things going on in Phoenix and in the state in general. Actually, a shameful plug-in, as they say. I'm going to be speaking in Flagstaff on April 7th with the Moonshot guys. So I'm going to be talking about cross-border business. So there's a lot of stuff going on that week, and love to see you at the Grow Globally Fair at the Grand Canyon University from 4:30 p.m. All the way to 7:30 p.m. Yeah. Thank
This will
you.
be our thank you. This will be our
April
largest
9th.
one. April 9th. This one will be our largest one ever. The most we ever had was 175 people. And I remember when we packed into Skysong, it was a hot summer day. Felt like there was no air in the room, but it was lively and inspirational and amazing. And everybody was sweating. It was an extraordinary event. This one is at Grand Canyon. I believe and hope that the air conditioning will be better. It's earlier in the year for sure. And we're expecting over 300 people at this one because of the collaboration with Integral Bank. They do an event every other month, and they'll typically get over 200 people at their events. And the combination of what they're doing here and what Global Chamber's doing to attract people, it looks like we're on a pace to be over 300. And then once people find out that Monex will be there, oh my God, it could hit 400. John and Jack will be there, and part of that is because they've white labeled a solution, a treasury management solution for Integral Bank that will be introduced at Grow Globally Fair. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that's at least my understanding. John is their chief economist at Monex, and we've known John for many, many years. And now that Monex has slipped in as a member again, welcome back, gentlemen. Jack was the one that relayed that. And John is amazing in terms of his knowledge about what's happening in the markets. It would be great to hear a little bit about from you about what we should be viewing the world today with currency because it's not stable, is it? John
Oh
and
no,
Jack, welcome and welcome to Phoenix in 3 weeks. What
thank
would
you
you
so
like to share?
much. Jack, you want to introduce yourself and then I can share my slides.
Yes, so I am Jack Valut, Monix USA. Just joined the company probably 2.5 months ago, but been in the business for 30 years, so I'm showing my age. And I'm a senior sales director here. And I'll pass it on to John, and he could
Yeah.
introduce himself.
I'm the official nerdy economist for Monix. I am super nerdy. And Doug, I have 60 PowerPoint slides based on my research. How much time am I allotted? I can skip some of the secondary slides. It is Friday.
um, could you take could you take 5 or 10 minutes because I think it's a really important topic for us. Maybe to the bottom of the hour. We're at 22 after till like 12:30, and then give some time for questions.
Sure. I'll try to do 7, 8 minutes. Now, can you see my slides, everyone? Awesome.
Yes.
Yes.
So quickly, Monix, 40 years old. We got 3,000 employees worldwide. We cover 148 different currencies. So we go toe to toe with all the major money center banks. We have this phenomenal online platform, which Integral Bank is going to white label and start providing services. We're going to debut that on April 9th. My team is small, but it's out of DC, and there are 96 financial institutions that provide currency forecasts to Bloomberg on a quarterly basis. And we're consistently ranked in top 10. We beat out some of the big boys and girls. So we punch above our weight. And we do this exercise on a monthly basis. We lock ourselves into US dollar room. We call it the greenback room. And we're trying to get a idea what the outlook is going to be. And I'm the first one to say I could have filled out the entire PowerPoint slide with all the things I worry about at night. By the way, there's an AI version of me who is 30 years younger. Number one issue for our clients, since we support all the businesses doing cross-border payments and international commerce, is still tariff. How bad is it? Right now, effective tariff rate for United States overall weighted average is about 8%, which is not as high as 25% we were expecting. I finally have a data from Harvard Business School, their pricing lab, the effects of tariff on the US economy. So at Harvard Pricing Lab, they track 300,000 individual SKU product items on the web on a daily basis.
Wow.
Using AI agent. It's amazing. You can actually go to the website and see it for yourself. They go out every morning and get all the data aggregated. So the yellow line, the graph, is the imported item that's affected by tariffs. The blue is domestic. And I can definitely say, using empirical data, tariff does raise prices about 0.7%. And then Liberty Street Economics, that's the Fed study that came out 2 weeks ago, which Trump administration was very upset about, which is 94% of tariffs are paid by importers or the US consumers. Interesting fact, our CPI is about 2.5, 2.4. Without the tariffs, would be below 2.0 at this time. And of course, we have geopolitical shock. It's too early to tell what the effect is, but every morning on Bloomberg, I look at the yield curve, and I have a bad news for you, sir. It's going up. 10 yield hit 4.4 today. If it goes to 4.5, that's going to hurt the private credit market with about $1.8 trillion with the refinancing and all that. So I'm keeping an eye on that as we speak. And then, of course, what are the effects of oil shock that's taking place? I got a couple good estimates. One from Apollo Group. I have a friend that works there, and they use the Fed's model. They think if the oil price stays about $100 a barrel, our GDP will go down 0.1%. Inflation will go up 0.7%. Goldman Sachs released a report just 2 days ago. They think 10% increase in oil price will reduce the GDP by 0.1%. combined, we're going to take a little bit of hit, but not a significant hit as a lot of people expect. So the key question, U.S. economy, half full, half empty. A lot of people think it's half empty. In fact, J.P. Morgan, I used to work for them. They think there's 40% chance we're going to be in recession this year. My favorite new economist is the poly market, the prediction market. According to one of the Fed studies, they are at par with all the leading forecasters. They think we have about 34% chance of recession this year. That's based on yesterday's data. My favorite economist, Mark Zandi at Moody's, he thinks it's a coin flip. At Monex, we think the U.S. economy is going to grow about 2.4%. That's consistent with the IMF forecast. And of course, last year we did grow 2.1%, but it was up and down. First quarter, we had a contraction. That's when everyone thought we were going to have a recession. Then we blew out second quarter, third quarter. Then we had a very disappointing fourth quarter, but that was due to government shutdown, which took away 1%. If it wasn't for that, I think we grew about 2.5% last year, all driven by consumer spending and business investments. So all the credit kudos go to U.S. consumers. Right now, if you go to Atlanta Fed using their model, they show right on their website, U.S. economy is growing about 2.3%. Exactly what we thought. It's going to be about 2.4. Of course, some people might say, John, you are foolish. How could you say that? We're not creating any jobs recently. It started around September. Our Chairman Powell, he took a hedge cut. He cut the interest rate September, October, December. He noticed that we weren't creating the jobs as we were doing before. In fact, last 6 months, overall net increase in job comes out to be about 0. But then, of course, you have to factor in the Doge cut and the bad weather and the 60,000 people health field leaving I think it was due to strike in California last month. But overall, we're not creating jobs. And whenever we see a slowdown in job creation, that's followed by recession. Those are the vertical shaded lines. It happens every single time, obviously. So therefore, you can see that we're not creating jobs. So it must be another recession coming. We don't think that is the case because structurally, big change. Since March of 2025, net immigration to the United States is close to 0. With the baby boomers retiring, we don't need to create 150, 200,000 jobs a month. We just need about 20,000 jobs to break even. And that's what we're seeing right now. So I don't see it as a big concern. And if you look at weekly, every Thursday, we get a report on American workers filing for the unemployment insurance initial claim, which is most accurate data that's out there in macroeconomics. And we don't see the numbers going up at all. So we think, I call it the duck economy in the job market. The duck is swimming along. It's very nice, but underneath that all, there's a big churn. Big churn is that about 2 million Americans get out of the labor force every year. That's what we saw last year. That's baby boomers retiring, by the way. 12,500 baby boomers turn 65 every day. Most of them retire. They get replaced. Overall net growth in the labor force is 0, but there's a big churn going on underneath. And let me quickly go forward. And here's the good news. A huge gain in productivity since the COVID shutdown. It's the 2% versus 1% we have seen before. And as a result, the last year's growth was mostly driven by labor productivity, not really due to hours worked. And that productivity gain is accelerating as we speak. The last quarter was 2.8%. We're getting to the level that we seen back in 2000 when we had a huge surge in productivity, and it's beating everyone's expectations. As a result, our wages are growing at a faster rate, 4%. Inflation is less than 3%. We're actually gaining real wage gains, and guess what we do very best with those gains? We go shopping. I track the credit card, debit card spending of 60 million Americans on a weekly basis. And as you can see, our spending has gone up and it is accelerating. So we're doing our part. Uniquely the US story, the productivity story, and the AI is coming. And it's uniquely the US story. So all the productivity surge that we expect from AI is going to be captured by the US economy and a little bit by China, but not the rest of the world. And of course, AI adoption is growing very rapidly. 23% of the American workers use it almost daily, weekly basis. And here's the study that's done by, well, it's not a study, it's a survey that was done by Moody. They looked at all the leading productivity AI studies that came out in the last 12 months. I put it into ChatGPT, analyzed it. It looks like it's going to boost our productivity by about 0.5 to 1%, which means next year our productivity could be about 3%, which is one of the best we've seen back in year 2000. Here's early sign that productivity surge is happening. By the way, I've been doing this for 30 years. This is first time I've seen something like this. The light bar represents the unemployment rate of recent college grads. Dark black bar, obviously black dark bar, is the general population, general unemployment rate. And for the past 2 years, the recent college grads unemployment is by 8.5, 8.6%. Whereas the general population is 4.4%. We never seen that in past 30 years, and we think that's related to AI story. And according to various studies done by McKinsey, Bain, and everyone else, it looks like the organizational structure that used to be a pyramid is turning into diamond as we speak. That explains a lot of layoffs and less hiring of the recent college grads. And in fact, that's what we're doing at Monix as well. We're using AI agents instead of hiring BDRs and SDRs. And of course, that means companies getting more profitable. That's why we're seeing good earnings growth. We expect to see earnings growth another double digit this year as well. And that's why we had a September 18th. I remember this day. That's when all three equity indexes hit a record level. My special day was September 16th. Only reason I say that is because back in 30 years ago when I started working, I said, if I have this much money in my portfolio, I'm going to retire. Well, that day was September 16th. I lost some since then, but it's getting close. And then, of course, if you own home, congratulations. We have a record home prices. Combined, we have a very strong wealth effect. Right now in the United States, top 10% of earners are responsible for 50% of all spending. And if you add the next 10%, it's responsible for 65% of all spending. Because the top 10% of the earners own 90% of stocks. In most cases, they own homes, and they're having a huge wealth effect. And that's really driving the consumer spending as we speak. Some people call this the K economy, but I'm a macroeconomist, and that puts the put on the US economy. They will continue to grow as long as stock market holds up and home prices hold up. And OBB is coming. That's another $150 billion worth of tax refund compared to last year, additional tax refund. Unfortunate story is that the tax refund, most of it will go to the top 20% of the household income. If you're in the bottom, I should say lower 20% of the household income in the United States, you're actually going to get less, minus about $4,000 worth of benefits, mostly due to Medicaid cut. So that K economy thing is going to continue, and it's going to get more amplified. And of course, you got investment surge under OBB. I do have, all of you have businesses. Perfect. I found out that Section 179 and OBB, if I invest, in other words, if I purchase a car that weighs more than 6,000 pounds, according to IRS, I can write off 50% or 100% based on my usage. So I do have an LLC. I do advise 2 businesses on the side. I'm trying to convince my wife that based on my research, a Mercedes GL SUV weighs a little bit more than 6,000 pounds. It's $120,000 car, Michael. In theory, I can buy that car this year and write the whole thing off against my taxes. By the way, the logic behind that is U.S. economy is going to do really well this year. And I think the Fed finally woke up to that notion. We got the new dot plots yesterday. Well, I'm sorry, 2 days ago, Wednesday. It says they're not going to cut the interest rate 3 or 4 times as we initially thought. And we are looking at maybe 1 cut. But as of this morning, based on my Bloomberg, no cuts. And some people are thinking about raising the interest rate because if the oil shock continues. So that's the change. What that means for the dollar, it's going to be good news for the dollar. Interest rate differential is going to favor the dollar. The dollar weakness that occurred last 6 months or so, we lost about 10%. That was based on market expectation that U.S. interest rate would go lower and lower and lower. So the interest rate differential with the rest of the world is going to get smaller. But if we're going to stay higher for longer, and we do expect oil shock to affect other economies more, especially in Asia and Europe, then they have to cut rates ultimately. I think that's going to favor the dollar. So we're robust on the dollar. Mexican peso, we're looking at about 9. Oh, by the way, that's a probability graph. I don't have time to go through it. But if I see you on the 9th, I'll walk you through. Right now, the spot rate is 1772 on Mexican peso. If you want to do a forward 6 months out, that will be 18.23. Right now, consensus in the market, that's analyst consensus biased towards higher. But at Monix, we think it's going to be about 1850. We have a good shot at looking at 19 this year. CNY, we think Chinese CNY is going to get stronger against the dollar for various reasons. I don't have time to explain that. But then, of course, CAD, we think the dollar is going to gain against the CAD the next 6 months. And the euro, we think the dollar is going to gain against the euro. We have a very good shot at looking at 110 in the next 6 to 8 months. And the Japanese yen is a bargain from US dollar perspective. If you're looking for a good place to go where you're going to stretch the dollar purchasing power, I highly recommend Mexico. And then, of course, this is where I turn over to Jack.
Yep.
Jack, I can flip this slides for you. So
Yeah. So so this is the hedging side. So basically, what we want companies to do, and we talk to companies about, is different type of forwards, options. Most of the time, we're dealing with forwards. John, you want to just go to the next slide? We have two types of forwards. The first one's a fixed date forward. So, for example, if you have a Mexican peso, vendor, and the bill comes due, let's say at the end of April, you could put in a fixed date of April 19th. And on that day, the forward would come due. You pay your vendor. The wire would be sent out. Very straightforward. And then the next one would be a window forward, which is the next slide over. And the window forward is just basically, a set date. So if you had a forward, let's say May 1st through the 15th, you didn't know exactly when you needed to pay that vendor. We can open up a window from the 1st to the 15th, and in between that time, you could pay that vendor when the bill comes due. So I run into a lot of clients that are, they just send spot payments, but as we know, the dollar has lost against the euro, at least it lost 10% last year, which is a lot. So we didn't think, we hit 120 on the euro just about a month ago. We've come back down, but with the Iran war, oil shock, we could see the dollar weaken again. But it's anybody's guess. So, not only do we send spot here, but we advise, we try to coach our clients on risk management, and not only forwards, but options as well, natural hedging, things of that nature. So I know we're up on time, but if you have any questions, or if you know of any companies that can utilize our services, just reach out to me. Be happy to work with them.
Jack, you want to mention about the IB arrangement?
Yes. Do you mind doing that real quick? Yeah.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah. So, Michael, if you have a client that needs FX services, if you refer that business to us, and we have to earn it, obviously. If that's the case, then we share a percentage of revenue on a recurring basis. We call it introductory broker. And we work with a lot of chambers, associations, a lot of law firms, accounting firms that work with the international clients. And because at the end of the day, our cost structure against the major banks is so much more lower. We can pass on the savings to our clients. So, and that's one of the reasons why we partner with the Integro. So they will be offering our platform plus the pricing that's going to be so much more competitive against big banks like Wells Fargo or JP Morgan Chase and so on.
Yeah.
By the way, that was a sales pitch.
No, it's fine. You provide a very impressive presentation, by the way, on the current state and your projections. Thank you.
Hey, John and Jack, I have a question regarding AI. So a lot of people, not just now, but a lot of people over the last year or two think there's a next bubble coming up, similar to .com, early 2000.
Yeah,
What's your perspective on it?
Actually, I also teach at George Mason as well, so we did a deep dive into that. The fundamental difference between today versus back in 2000 with the telecom, all the spending on fiber optics and things like that. 2000, most of the funding, the financing was a debt driven. But if you look at the current capex, which is like $600 billion that we're projected to spend this year, 80% of it is done by hyperscalers who have enough cash flow of their own. So it's not as leveraged investment as past. Now, only area of concern that I have is the private credit market. By definition, it's private, so no one knows. We do estimate that to be about $2 trillion. And that's the reference that Jamie Dimon had about cockroaches. My big concern is if the 10-year yield continues to go up, and when these firms need to refinance, they may come under pressure. And we don't know how much of that will spill over to the banks. We're not there yet because we're 4.4, but we went from 4.2 to 4.4 in a week. And his yield curve is still going up as we speak. So yes, I am concerned, but it's not the same as apple to apple comparison to back in 2000.
Thank you. That's helpful. Appreciate it.
Does anybody else have any question, thoughts?
Can I just ask Doug, John, you mentioned, the boomers are all retiring, but they have a pile of money, right? They're going to spend.
It's a massive amount.
I have another
graph. Yeah, I have another graph that says the baby boomers are the most wealthy generation ever in terms of the wealth.
But they're going to spend it, right? And that's going to be good for the economy, right? Or no?
And actually, that's supporting the consumer spending because underneath the hood, 60% of the U.S. households, they're on paycheck to paycheck. I have a data that I was going to share in my LinkedIn. I was discouraged to share it, shamed to share it. I don't know what you can call it. 250,000 Americans, they sell their blood on a daily basis in the U.S. There is 1,000 places that popped up. And in fact, how could I say it? People are getting by best they can. It's the bottom 60%. But from a macroeconomist point of view, their spending is just fractional. It's the upper 20-25% of the household that's driving the consumer spending, which drives the US GDP. And here's another sad fact. If you look at the last 12 months where the jobs have been created, 3 areas. Number one is healthcare, because baby boomers, we need healthcare. And number 2 is leisure. And if you go on cruise and travels, things like that. And number 3 is hospitality. We actually lost jobs in manufacturing due to productivity gains. And all other areas, we have not seen a job growth. So some people call it K economy. I call it G economy, generational. And I'm officially a baby boomer. I'm the last year of the baby boomer. And it's totally a divided economy. But when you aggregate that, the baby boomers have done such a good job spending, it's holding up the U.S. economy.
Wow. Thanks.
Sounds good. We We have about 10 minutes left, and if you guys able to hang on for another 10 minutes, and we just go a little bit more round table, and then if another question comes up, field it.
Sure. Yeah.
That's great. So I'm just going to leave it open first for members. Any members who haven't spoken yet, anything that you'd like to say or ask about, or how can we help? I'm not sure, Bernd, you've spoken yet, but please just open up the floor for the last 10 minutes. Bernd, you want to go first?
Absolutely. Oh, thank you so much, and happy Friday, of course. So Bernd Heber from Phoenix, Arizona, 30 years. I came over from Germany, so still slight German accent. I cannot get rid of it, but it's okay. I would like to make two big announcements. So I'm in the music industry business with World Strings Promotion. I just put the information in the chat. For more than 20 years, I'm specialized in special events, working with artists from Europe, bring them over on the tour here in the United States, and work also with partners in Germany, Sweden, for example. The two big announcements I would like to make, one is, and Doug, thank you very much again for encouraging me to join the Global Chamber in December. And when I registered, I realized there is no music industry group to be selected for a company joining the Global Chamber. You know, out of the 600 chapters, there was no music industry. Media entertainment, close enough, but not music industry. So I raised my hand and asked if I would be allowed to start the music industry group within the Global Chamber. Doug and others said, absolutely, go ahead. So just 2 or 3 weeks ago, we made a global announcement. It's out on the news site if you go there, and the link is in the chat if you want to check it out. So we have started officially the music industry group in the Global Chamber, and I'm happy to announce the first event will take place on April 30th. And my special guest is a company from Austria, in Vienna in Austria. The name of the company is Amadeus Acoustics, and that's the world leading company equipping venues, music theaters with the latest and greatest sound technology, totally different than you have experienced in the past when the music, whether it's classic music or pop music, rock music, is either way too loud or you can't hear anything. So they have found a technical, a combination of software and hardware solution. They have equipped about 30 theaters in Europe already, and I'm working with them to bring them onto the United States, and there's some entry points. So I'm looking for partners who are also interested in potentially also sponsoring this this endeavor. But April 30th, I will have the CEO of the company presenting the Amadeus Acoustics solution to the world. I'm very happy and very proud of that. So look out for official announcements coming out next week. The second big announcement for everyone who's in Phoenix or lives in Phoenix or Arizona or will be in town, May 16th, I want you to put it on the calendar, mark your calendar. It's another major endeavor that I'm involved with. It's called the Nursing Rocks Concert Series. So this is an endeavor for a number of years, organized concert across the nation to celebrate and honor nurses, period. So these are sponsored events where the nurses attend for free. Great music, and I'm happy to announce we secured the Walter Studios in Phoenix, downtown Phoenix. If you have not been to that place, it's a magic place. May 16th is Saturday, all day, all afternoon and evening. We have the whole building, so that in the afternoon there will be festival atmosphere. Lots of musicians will be there. We have reached out to some celebrities. We'll see who shows up. But in the evening from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., we have 5 Arizona-based rock bands on stage. And I'm very proud also to announce that the Phoenix Children's Hospital is the key sponsor of the whole event. So we're so happy and lucky. And the coolest thing, I mean, it's all cool. The coolest thing is, you probably don't know, that the Phoenix Children's Hospital has a doctor's band. So Dr. Greg White, if you look him up on the website, he's the leading spine surgeon for kids here in Phoenix. People travel from all over the world to have their kids operated by him. He's a bass player. So he is the bass player of that doctor's band, and the doctor's band will be on stage that day. So we'll send out some information. I would love to have you come to the event. And of course, we're still looking for sponsors and people who would like to contribute in such a special way. And Phoenix is the first state. We're working on Dallas in June. Next is Nashville, Los Angeles, and Denver, and Chicago might be next. Thank you.
can
Fantastic.
I
Thank
ask
you.
there? I'm sorry. Did you say nurses attend free?
Yes.
Uh, I have a client, Navi Nurses. Many of you know them. They have a large group of nurses. If you were to send me something, I would pass that along to them.
Thank you. Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. Yeah. Appreciate it. Thanks, Mike.
Amazing. Thank you. Who does anybody else have anything? We have about 3 or 4 minutes.
So, Doug, can I just say
Thank
hi?
you, Bernd and Michael. Mariana, how are you?
Yes, hi. Nice to see you again. And what a pleasure to be
You
here,
too as
surrounded
well.
this amazing group of professionals in Arizona. And I just want to say hi and thank you for this amazing conversation in this level. My name is Mariana. I am originally from Brazil. I just graduated my master's at global management at Thunderbird, and I'm here. I'm a brand new member of the Global Chamber, and I'm so enthusiastic about everything that is happening here. So I came just to say thank you, Doug. I'm putting my contact here on the link too. I would love to connect with you guys. I'm looking for some opportunities and help companies to grow internationally. I'm now prospecting some Brazilian companies who are trying to expand to the US market. And I'm sharing why Arizona can be such a strong place for international business, right? And I would love to chat, to connect with you guys. And thank you for this opportunity, Doug.
Good. And
When do you graduate and when are you?
So I just
Oh,
graduated in
go
December,
ahead.
last December. Yeah, I just finished the program. I have a long journey, almost 15 years of work experience, mostly in display technology. And now I'm moving into sustainable technologies. That is the major that I did at the School of Sustainability. And I'm pretty excited about future.
Fantastic. I'm sure you put your information in the chat area. Mike, please go ahead.
um, Mariana, I'm part of. We all are part of several organizations here in town. But the District Export Council has used several Thunderbird graduates every year very successfully. Very impressed, as has Global Chamber has used people out of Thunderbird as well. I've been we've had some dinners for them at the end of the program, and I have been actually quite surprised by people with really high level finance degrees from Thunderbird or high level management degrees. I mean, really advanced degrees in international and accounting and finance have been unable to find jobs here in the valley, partially because of immigration issues, et cetera. But they have their student work time. I took a couple of finance people last year with me to FEI, the Financial Executives International, and introduced them around the room to about 100, of the Valley's CFOs and controllers to try to see, hey, here's somebody, and the price is right. These guys, you can get them for cheap, right out of Thunderbird with a great finance degree, but they just are desperate to stay in the Valley. I mean, we want to keep them here so they don't have to go back to their country in Africa or whether they came from after they built all these great relationships here. I've talked to several of our folks from that are at Thunderbird as well from the deck, and I just it's a and I know Steve Zylstra cares about this. I know you do, Doug, but it's a concern to me that we cannot keep more help more of these Thunderbird students stay in the Valley or at least stay in the U.S.
Thank you so much,
Well,
Michael.
let's,
You're right,
Mariana, will you be at the
right?
Grow Globally?
So,
Will you be able to come to the Grow Globally Fair on the 9th?
absolutely, I will. Absolutely. It will be a pleasure for
Okay.
me. Okay.
So we need to wrap up. So everybody,
Oh,
please, Mariana, put your information in the chat and connect up with her, and let's all meet up and help her on April 9th. Most of you will be there. Mike, did you have one last comment there?
nope. I'm sorry I talked so much.
I have one, Doug. I would
Oh,
love to
no.
see. I would love to see the rest of the
Yes,
deck.
Eduardo, why don't you take us home?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say that I would love to see the rest of the deck that John presented. Very interesting. I can look at that all day. Thank you, John. That was very interesting. If we can get a copy of it or partial copy, that would be great.
Yes, sir.
Um,
I'll send email because I used the Mexican peso forecast at the El Paso's Mexico Supply Nearshoring Summit, and we share some insights on because the interest rate differential. If you layer option, then if you're buying Mexican peso, there's an opportunity to really stretch your budget.
Interesting. Interesting.
I'll send the
Yeah.
deck first, and then I'll follow up, and I may see you on the 9th.
Yep. Yeah. Looking
Awesome.
forward to it. Yeah. Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to seeing everyone at the 9th of the Grand Canyon. If you have any questions, comments, happy to go over them. And thank you, everyone. Just spread the word. See you there. And thank you, Doug. Thank you, Mike, also.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye,
Have a
guys.
great Friday and weekend. Take care.
Same to
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.